According to eConsultancy, slow loading websites cost retailers 2.6 billion in lost sales each year. The good thing is we have plugins like WP Rocket, which are a premium plugin to boost your website speed without going too much into the technical details. In this video, I'll show you the WP Rocket setting that I use that I feel are optimal and will give a good boost to your website speed. It got my website loading under 1 second and 90 plus page speed insights. Let's look at WP Rocket. So since you're using WP Rocket, I guess I don't need to introduce it to you, but it's considered the best WordPress caching plugin in the premium range. There are several alternatives including free ones. I created a video showing different options that you have in case you are looking for a free one. It's supposed to be a powerful solution to boost your loading time, improve your page speed score, and optimize your core web vitals. I installed WP Rocket premium plugin on my production WordPress websites which are making money, so I can have a ROI on that. This is one of my websites, and let's look at the settings. The first is the cache settings. Obviously WP Rocket is a caching plugin, so you should enable the caching. Here you have option to enable caching for mobile devices as well, so it will give a boost for your mobile pages. You have the option to have a separate cache for mobile devices, but I don't use that. With modern themes you don't need to use this option. You have user cache, which is for user specific or restricted content on your website. I enable this for logged in WordPress users. The cache lifespan is the specific time after which this global cache is going to get cleared. So by default it is 7 days and I use it as that. Next are the file optimization settings. So you have the optimization settings for CSS, JavaScript, HTML. The CSS file you want to enable minify CSS. This basically removes white space and comments and reduces the file space so that it loads faster. I enable optimize CSS delivery. It eliminates render blocking CSS on the website, giving further boost to page speed. In that I use a remove unused CSS option, so it further helps to reduce page size and the HTTP requests. Now there are some CSS that I exclude out of these options, because when the page loads it can cause initial odd look of the page, and then as the CSS loads later on it will improve. So I don't want that. So basically the CSS for the themes, I exclude that from this kind of optimization. So in my case I'm using the Cadence theme, and in that case these are some of the CSS that I don't want to be included in this optimization. So I added them over here in the CSS safe list. You can add file names, IDs or classes that should not be removed one per line. The next are settings for the JavaScript files. Again, minify JavaScript, I enable it so that it removes white space and comments to reduce the size. I don't use this option to combine JavaScript files. I use the option to load JavaScript default, so it eliminates render blocking. It gives a really big boost to your WordPress website, so do use this option. So what this means is the JavaScript will initially not load. First all the other elements of the page loads and the JavaScript will load a bit later on. The other option I enable is delay JavaScript execution. This delays the JavaScript till the user interacts with your page. So scroll or click. Once that is done, then the JavaScript will load. So again you get a further boost. There are some JavaScript exceptions I like to keep. Like I don't want Google Analytics to get delayed because I want it to immediately fire once the user visits my website. So that's why I excluded using this option of one-click exclusions, where you can exclude any JavaScript. It already has a certain list of common JavaScript you can consider, like Google Analytics, Google AdSense, Amazon Ads, Google Maps. A lot of options are already there. Also the themes, the JavaScript that is as part of the themes, I don't want them to load later on. I want them to immediately load once my website loads. That's why I excluded out of the delayed JavaScript loading. If you have further scripts that you want to exclude, you have this exclude JavaScript files option where you can specify the URLs on the keywords and it will exclude the JavaScript from the delayed loading. So I've added JavaScript for Google Analytics, for my theme, for some of the plugins that I'm using where I want to immediately fire it. Another important setting to get a boost for a website is a lazy load of images and videos. So you enable it for images and for videos. What it does is your website will immediately load, and the images which are visible right now for the user, only those will load. Images that are lower in the pages won't load initially. As the user scrolls and those come into the viewport, then they will start getting loaded. This delayed type of loading really improves page speed. So I enable it for images, enable for CSS background images. I enable it for iframes and videos, basically any YouTube videos or any embedded videos they will also get loaded when it comes into the user viewport. Now this is a really good option to replace YouTube iframe with preview image. So instead of having the actual iframe, it uses a kind of a screenshot of your YouTube video and it gives even further boost. But I found a problem with this when I was using on my WordPress website. Basically, it doesn't seem to work and it leaves an empty blank space for me. And even when it does seem to work, then user has to click it twice to get the video played. So I found issues with it, and that's why I'm not using this setting. When I use it, it really gives a further boost, but I cannot use it because it's not working for me. But you can try it out on your website. If you enable it, do make sure to test your website on both desktop and mobile to check if it's working properly. Then there are some images I don't want to delay their loading, like the icon and stuff. So I add them over here in the excluded images. So you can add any images, CSS file name, CSS class domain over here, and those will get excluded. Another important setting which you should enable is the image dimension. So when we have our images, we don't typically specify the height and width attributes of those images, especially if there's some automatic optimization going on this image to reduce the size. Maybe use something like short pixel to do that. So enabling this is a good thing. It will add the missing image dimensions automatically to that. So it helps the browser understand what are the dimensions and then load it. The next option is to preload your cache. So basically what this does is it detects your sitemaps and what are the URLs in that, it will preload them in the background, giving a further boost to your website. Also enable the link preloading. So what this does is if there are links in your WordPress website pages, so those links also it will preload in the background. It gives this view to the user that when they click the link, it will immediately load the next page because it is already cached in the background. You also have the option to preload certain fonts. If you're using some fonts and they take a lot of time to load, you can preload them in the background. WP Rocket does come with a CDN integration option. If you're using a content delivery network, you can enable this and then add the CDN name and it will start working. I don't use this option, but I use the Cloudflare add-on option because I'm using Cloudflare as a CDN and WP Rocket has an integration with it via the add-on. If we check under add-on, we can see this Cloudflare. So in the Cloudflare, we add the API key, the account phone ID, and it will automatically get integrated and working with WP Rocket, even further boost to your WordPress website speed. The last setting I use is the heartbeat. This is not a major setting, but still it gives certain boost to your website. This is like it controls the heartbeat API activity. Basically, between your server and the browser, there is a kind of a to and fro activity happening in between every minute or so. So this you can use to control it. Basically, how much you want is frequent interaction between the browser and the servers. You can have the reduced activity in the backend, post editor, front end. But don't disable this because it can cause problems and break plugins and themes. If you're not sure, avoid using it. But if you're using it, do not disable it. Just reduce the activity and it will work fine. So image optimization is available with this Imagify plugin. I don't use this because I separately use Short Pixel plugin and certain other plugins to improve my image speed optimization. There is also the database settings which are good, but this you need to do it either manually or schedule it. You can clean up if there are too many revisions in your WordPress database, too many drafts, trash posts, spam comments. You can come over here and immediately clean it. You have optimized tables option. I don't use that because I don't want to risk messing up my production website. So of course, take a backup before you do any of these settings or these changes, but avoid doing anything related to a database is my view. You can schedule automatic cleanup as well if you want. Every period of time, it will clear all these unwanted revisions, trash posts, spam comments. So these are the WP Rocket settings that I use and I have really seen a lot of improvement in my page speed. So try these settings out and let me know how much improvement you see in your WordPress website. Now, if you don't see improvements even after doing the setting, there are some other things you will need to think about when it comes overall to your WordPress website. So I've created a video over here showing you how you can boost your WordPress website speed so that it loads under 1 second and you get page speeds of 90 plus. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.